they were satisfying Huckel's rule just because there was no complete resonance. They were named as non-aromatic compounds. So we will see the actual reason or how exactly this not complete delocalization, like how we can say whether delocalization is complete or not. We will try to understand with this example. And yeah, what does it make complete resonance? Yes, I will tell you. Simply, all the carbons in the ring should be involved in the resonance. I mean, one way or the other, they have to be involved in the resonance, be it getting a negative charge or forming a new pi bond which was absent initially. Like that, some changes should happen in the process of delocalization. If that no change is happening in all of the resonating structures, all of the possible resonating structures, then we can say there is no complete resonance or no complete delocalization. I think this example will explain that part better. So let's see. So this is cyclobutynyl carbanion, because we have a lone pair, and because of that, if we take this as carbon number 1, it is a negative, and is a 7 number ring planar. If it is alkane, it is not planar. But if it is alkene, for example, if it has altering single and double bonds, probably okay. I mean, if there are alternate single and double, and all of them are involved in the resonance, we can take it as planar. But mostly it will be non-planar only, because odd number of electrons you have, there will be one carbon without pi bond at all. So probably it will be non-aromatic. Okay, here. So we have a lone pair over here, a pi bond over here, and we all know this is a conjugate system, because you have altering pi, you have pi, sigma, and a lone pair. So this is a conjugate system. And also you can count the number of pi electrons. There are two pi electrons and one lone pair, and the total electrons involved in the system are 4 electrons. In the conjugative system, and they are not following the Huckel's rules. Why? Because Huckel's rule is 4n plus 2. It will be in a it will be either 2 like 4 won't appear. Then you substitute the integers in the Huckel's system. So because of that, is it cutting the net data? What's the way? Is it still breaking for you, Ma, Rohit? Or is it okay now?
It's a bit better,
Hello?
ma'am.
It's a bit better. Okay, let me switch the network. Give me a second. All right. Uh, yes. As you can count the number of electrons involved in the conjugation, one lone pair which constitute 2 electrons and one pi bond. So overall, you have 4 electrons, and they are following 4n pi rule. So if there is complete resonance in the molecule, then we can call it anti-aromatic. If it is Huckel's rule, directly we can call it as aromatic. But here the complete resonance is not possible. And what do we mean by complete resonance? Means you can count, there are 1, 2, 3, total 4 carbons involved in the ring. All these 4 carbons, one way or the other, should undergo delocalization. Let's say if you compare the structure 1 and 2, structures 1 and 2, you can see there is altering pi bond, sorry, the positions of pi bond and the lone pair are exchanged. You can see the actual delocalization through arrows. These lone pair form a new pi bond over here, and these pi electrons will be withdrawn by the third carbon. That's how we end up with a negative charge over here and a new pi bond over here. Now, beyond this point, the lone pair cannot form a new pi bond. I mean, if you see between the carbon involved, is it 4n plus 2 pi electrons or electrons involved in the conjugation? Electrons involved in the conjugation should completely delocalize throughout the molecule. And what exactly this 4n plus 2 and 4n pi means, if it is 4n plus 2, it is called as Huckel's rule. Without any doubt, we can call it as complete conjugation. Whereas with the compounds which are not following Huckel's rules but still has pi electrons, and that too satisfying this 4n pi value, 4n pi number of electrons, even they can also show conjugation. I mean, this delocalization can be observed in those sets of system also, but we call those compounds as anti-aromatic, just like we discussed in yesterday's class. The actual electrons, whatever might be the count, if all of the count and all will define whether it's Huckel's rule or the anti-aromatic rule. As long as all the available electrons completely, like both pi electrons and lone pairs included, are delocalized throughout the molecule, then we can call it as complete delocalization. But you can see between the positions in this particular example, that complete delocalization is not possible. Between 1, 2 and 3, there is delocalization, whereas the after third carbon, in the fourth carbon, there is no possibility for it to go anywhere. You can observe here. Even if the lone pair go this way, we will end up with a deficiency over here. That's not how it will be, right? There has to be a conjugative, an alternative system. So this kind of shifting of electron towards fourth carbon is not allowed. Why? Because it is not the conjugate system, because the conjugate system is only this part where you have the pi bond and the lone pair in the alternate positions. And yes, even the lone pair should be counted when we are calculating the electrons. Why? Because if you take carbanions or something like that, these lone pairs between, you remember the type of conjugation, right? A pi bond, double bond, and a lone pair, pi bond and a positive charge, pi bond and a negative charge. So whenever you have a negative charge or lone pair, these two are sort of same. Those electrons should also be considered for those delocalizing electrons. Otherwise, we will get the wrong value. And coming to your doubt, yes, definitely this 4 and pi value includes the number of lone pairs, free lone pairs, which are in conjugation, definitely available. Uh, yeah, which are in conjugation, only those lone pairs will be counted under 4 and pi. Rest all we can ignore. As long as they are in alternate positions, you can include them. Okay, right. So even if there is resonance because of the conjugative pi, alternate pi and lone pair, it is not it is not completely throughout the molecule, only between carbon 1, carbon 2 and carbon 3 only this delocalization is happening. So that's what we mean by not complete, no resonance or no complete delocalization. If this is the scenario, even if it follows Huckel's rule, even if it has 4n pi or 4n number of electrons available for delocalization, then they are non-aromatic. Directly you can take. Why further resonance is not possible? Why? See, for resonance to happen, we require a conjugative system, right? This electron, sorry, this lone pair and this pi bond, only this direction the resonance is possible because they are the alternate position. In order to involve the fourth carbon in resonance, there is no pi bond after between carbon 1 and carbon 4. I mean, here there is no pi bond. If there is a pi bond available here, then this lone pair will be in alternate position with this pi bond. Then it will involve in resonance. But here there is no such conjugative system for the fourth carbon and the lone pair. That's why complete resonance or complete delocalization is impossible in this particular structure. Okay, so this because of that, this cyclobutynyl carbanion is non-aromatic compound. Mostly the type of questions asked from this part, aromatic, non-aromatic, and anti-aromatic, will be very direct. They will give you the compound, check for number of pi electrons, if there are any lone pairs, if they are in conjugation with those double bonds, first thing, and just follow the rules that we do, find out directly whether aromatic or anti-aromatic or non-aromatic. They won't complicate much. Direct questions will be asked when it comes to aromatic and anti-aromatic and non-aromatic compounds. And while like if you have gone through the examples that I have shared, there was a term called anilines. Anilines are nothing but cyclic compounds, that too having alternate single and double bonds. And those cycle are single only, monocyclic compounds only. And these there are a lot of them. As long as you have in cycle, like cyclic compound and alternating single and double bonds, we can call them as annulenes. And their notation will be something like this. How many carbons are forming that ring? That number is indicated in a square bracket followed by the name annulene. We don't even need to name it according to the nomenclature, like cyclotetra, cyclohexatriene, even like that also we don't need to name it, just simply how many carbons are forming that particular ring followed by the word aniline, that would be sufficient. Just a simple, yeah, like you should know what this term aniline is. They won't stress much on these anilines, but it's better to know rather than without having any idea about it. They are monocyclic compounds with alternate single and double bonds. If you see Singlish, there is a lot of explanation on these anilines because there are exceptions for being aromatic, anti-aromatic, and all, which are not required for you guys. It will just complicate the stuff, not required. So this is about aromatic, anti-aromatic, and non-aromatic compounds. So to keep it simple, if there is complete resonance or complete delocalization, we have aromatic compound, and all those, the count of electrons should follow this 4n plus 2 rule. Whereas if there is complete delocalization but there are only 4n electrons, then it will be treated as anti-aromatic. Now, even if this count is present in the molecule but there is no complete resonance or complete delocalization, then the third type will be a non-aromatic compound. So these are just keeping it simple. Anyway, always planar and cyclic, they are default for all these types of compounds. If it is non-planar, it will be non-aromatic only, even if it has complete delocalization also. That's what happens in anilines. But yeah, simply 4n plus 2 electrons and 4n electrons are available, then you can have aromatic. But Huckel's rule is default satisfied, aromatic completely. Only 4n pi electrons you have anti-aromatic. Simple. And without complete delocalization, without the electron satisfying this rule, we don't need to worry about first two. Directly we can call them as non-aromatic compound. And is this coming for SADS exam? Yes, they are including complete GOC, right? They might like one or two you can expect. It's all anyway, it's names, na. At least you can expect one from aromatic and anti-aromatic. Why can't resonance continue in anti-clockwise? Definitely in anti-clockwise resonance is possible, something like this. Okay, and these pi electrons will be withdrawn. You end up with the same structure. So structure 1 will appear even if in anti-clockwise there is resonance. So only two resonance structures are available here. Okay. Okay. Now in today's class, the important chapter, yes, actually, when I was going through our curriculum and all, if, we did cover a lot of examples regarding acidity of phenols and carboxylic acid in resonance chapter. Okay, I mean in resonance part. Give me 1 second, ma'am. Uploading a doc. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, we did cover a lot of examples on acidity. Only pending from our side, from my side, will be discussion of basic character using the resonance phenomena that we will do. And yeah, and one more thing, all of them together, we will discuss again. It's been a long time we did discuss resonance. Uh, it's the same molecule, ma. We end up with the same molecule. Acha, anti-clockwise, fine. See, it's the same. Let me explain you again. Right. So, if we are saying can't it happen this way, then you can see this lone pair, there is no pi bond over here for the delocalization to happen. There is no conjugation. Conjugation is in this direction only. That's why I concentrated more on that direction. In anti-clockwise, it won't happen because there is no conjugation in that direction. Pi bond is alternative at this position only. That's why. Okay. In second structure. Okay, fine. So if you are talking about shifting of this electron over these pi electrons over here, we are talking about anti-clockwise. And like this, if you are mentioning, we already have a lone pair over here. So there is no logic in shifting these pi electrons because see, let's say if these pi electrons are coming over here, what happens to the negative charge on this lone pair? It's already side by side, you have lone pairs, and this cannot form a pi bond over here because you can see the shifting and all has to be in alternate position. If you are talking about this pi electrons over here and this over here, no, it won't happen. Why? Because if that happens, there will be an electron deficiency at this carbon with a positive charge, which is not similar to our initial structure. So in this direction, it won't happen. Okay, because you end up, these pi electrons will be lost, right? You end up with a positive charge on this carbon, which is increasing the polarity of the molecule. So it won't be stable. It won't be treated as the proper resonance structure. Okay, clear, right? All right. So we did discuss a lot of examples regarding the stability, mostly acidic strength we did. Basic character is pending in resonance part that we will cover. Apart from that, if you go back and check all the examples that we did discuss in inductive effect and all, we have covered a lot of examples. Only thing is we haven't grouped them together by combining all the electronic effects. That part we will do. So today I will tell you two exceptions regarding resonance effect. So tomorrow we will see basicity of amines, especially utilizing the effect of resonance. And tautomerism we have to cover. We have learned in GOC, but we couldn't go into specific. So that's why we will talk about. mm, we will talk about tautomerism. We will discuss more about it in the day after tomorrow's class, so that we will cover whatever the incomplete part that we have. All right. So let's start. This steric hindrance, this plays a crucial role, especially in determining the acidic strength of carboxylic acid. Why? Because if you remember, when there is a steric hindrance, there will be a lot of repulsions. If there are repulsions, the energy of the molecule will increase and its stability will decrease. And if the stability is less, obviously it will be more reactive. So overall, because of this steric hindrance, the reactivity of the molecule is getting affected. So this reactivity can be in terms of losing a H plus or gaining an electron, whatever it might be, one way or the other, it is reactive. So this steric hindrance at what positions is of more importance, we will try to cover. So if you go back to our initial geometrical isomerism, cis and trans, we did discuss regarding cis compounds and trans compounds. When it comes to cis compounds, the substituents or the groups will be on the same side. If it comes to trans, they will be on the opposite sides. Now, this CH3 is a bulkier group. Almost all alkyls are bulkier. Comparison between hydrogen and CH3, this CH3 is also bulkier group. So when they are very nearer to each other, so when they are if they are on the same side, there will be electronic repulsions, and these electronic repulsions will lead to increase in reactivity. So mostly we will be come acrossing methyl groups, sorry, alkyl groups, nitro groups, and bigger halogens like chlorine, bromine, and iodine, etc. Mostly chlorine and bromine we will come across more. So as you can see, in a cis isomer, because of the same side, because of the methyl group's presence on the same side, there will be electronic repulsions, and these repulsions will lead to increase in the reactivity. And this reactivity will be either acidic strength or basic strength, as we will see in the upcoming examples. That is first part. The presence of bulkier group will lead to the steric hindrance. Steric hindrance. Now the second thing is electronic factor. If you remember in resonance, especially plus M and minus M, always the ortho and para positions were either ending up with a negative charge if it was plus M effect, or a positive charge if it was minus M effect, which means either electron density is increased or decreased at ortho positions and para positions. And this increase in electron density mostly will affect the reactivity of the molecule. If you remember, we did discuss about a point. Electrophilic substitution is favored at ortho and para positions in positive mesomeric effect. So this steric hindrance, either presence of bulkier groups or increase in electron density at certain point in a given ring, will determine the compound's reactivity. Now, what's the entire point by of entire reason for discussing this steric hindrance at this point means, if you go through all the examples we have discussed for acidic strength or basic strength in the previous ones, all of them we have discussed for substituents at para positions only. We haven't gone through any ortho substituents or meta substituents. Those things we will see now, and especially substituents at ortho positions are a big deal. Why? Because they are immediately, or they are affecting our molecule in a greater way. Let's see this example, you will have an idea. So in the first example, molecules with steric hindrance are less stable. Less stable in the sense it is analogous to having more reactivity. And because of this steric hindrance, position specific substitution reaction. Substitution actual reactions they won't ask, they will give you at what position exactly this can go and get replaced. The definition of steric hindrance. Yeah, I will explain, Ma. Before that, I wanted you to know how exactly Okay, fine. Okay, steric hindrance will be the electronic repulsions or the increase in reactivity due to the presence of bulkier groups. Okay, if the bulkier groups in a compound or substituents in a compound are very near to each other, there will be repulsions. These repulsions will lead to higher reactivity of the molecule. That's what a steric hindrance is. It will stop one way or the other. It will stop. Hindrance means stopping, right? This stopping can be explained by any substitution reaction happening in a particular reaction. We will see that example. I want to explain that first and then go back to that later. If we observe specific substituent, you see this is a tertiary group, right? Carbon with three other methyl groups. You can see this is a very big bulkier group. How do we compare bulkiness by size of atoms in the group? Okay, comparatively, we can do. So let's say this is nitro group, NO2, and you have OH group. Here, how many atoms are there? What is the structure of the molecule? N double bond O, NO, something like this. Not this. So you have something like triangular structure for NO group. Whereas if you take OH, it is just simply OH. It is attached to over here. As you can see, this is a linear, a planar one, whereas this is a triangular one. You can see the size of NO2 group and OH group. The actual atomic sizes of individual atoms can also be done. But simple logic is how many atoms are there in those groups and what is their arrangement, whether they are occupying more space comparatively, which is occupying more space will cause more steric hindrance. Like that we can compare. All right. Now, example here, we have a tertiary carbon, right? A tertiary carbon definitely is attached to three other alkyl groups. Because of that, there will be inductive effect, and that inductive effect will lead to increase of electron density at ortho positions or para positions. Both the ortho positions are same. Now, as you all remember, whenever we have a negative charges or any charges in a given molecule, if they are far apart, if the charge separation is more, it will be less stable. If the charge separation is less, it will be more stable. By considering that logic, the substitution of this nitro group in this particular nitration reaction should happen at ortho position, should happen at ortho position, but in reality it happens at para position. Why? Because of the why means this tertiary group, which is very bulky, bigger in size, will not allow or will stop for the incoming group to be substituted at ortho position. Now you can see the size of this methyl group is stopping the substitution of nitro at ortho position. This is the hindrance, means it is acting as a barrier. It is not allowing the substitution at ortho position. Now you can understand the steric hindrance. The size of the molecules, sorry, the size of the groups, how they are stopping a certain reaction and redirecting it to happen in a different way. Okay, so because of the bulkier groups, instead of nitro group substitution at ortho, it happens at para. It won't happen at meta. Why? Because this inductive effect, or not inductive effect, the plus M effect of these tertiary butyl group is operative at ortho and para only. Meta will be inactive, like it won't involve in the conjugation. You already know that. That's why, because of this bulkier group, instead of substitution at ortho, we end up having a substitution at nitro group. So this explains the proper steric hindrance. Bulkier group is redirecting the substitution. Instead of at ortho, we are having our product in the para position. Okay, now how is it going to affect? Because all we were talking is because of this steric hindrance, repulsions increase, and that will lead to increase in the reactivity. Now Let's talk about acidic strength, because most of them we did most of the groups we have seen in acidic strength, right? We have compared them. What is the toll of this steric hindrance on this particular acidic strength? Let's see. So in the first example, you can see we have a phenol. To this phenol you have two methyl groups and a nitro group at para position and two methyl groups at meta position. And now we are talking about acidic strength of phenol, which means of the OH group we are discussing. What is the ease of loss of this H plus from this molecule? How it's stopping substitution from happening at ortho? Acha, one second. Um, the the size of this methyl group is the bigger. Uh, that's what. See, this is big in size. All the methyl groups. Even if we have charges partially at ortho and para, the methyl group will be bigger in size. The ortho position will be the carbon adjacent to our substituent, right? If we are talking about substitution at ortho, it will happen at this position. And as you can see, the size of each methyl group will not allow for the incoming group to cross that methyl and being added at ortho. I mean, the bigger size of these methyl group attached in the tertiary butyl one will not allow for incoming nitro group to be substituted at this one. Just like they act as a barrier, they won't, the orientation won't be proper for this nitro group to go and get substituted at this position. Just the size factor only, nothing more than that. All right. Okay. So when it comes to acidic strength, mostly we will be talking about the ease of losing H plus ion. Now, if you see these two, if you always the acidic strength will be determined by what magnitude the H plus ion is, sorry, H plus is bounded to the oxygen. The less is the magnitude of charge on the oxygen, the more easily it will be lost. As you can see, this nitro group is an electron withdrawing group, and in reality it should favor the loss of H plus because it will decrease the electron density on oxygen. If you remember, acidic strength was directly proportional to the presence of minus M group or minus I group. Now this NO2 is minus M group only, but the effect of this nitro group is inhibited. The resonance, the mesomeric effect of this NO2 group is inhibited by the presence of methyl group at ortho positions. Okay, whereas the same methyl groups at the same ortho position, but with respect to OH, will not show any steric hindrance. Why? Because NO2 is bigger in size than OH, and because of that, the magnitude of steric hindrance or will be more in this compound than this. That's why OH tendency, the losing of this H plus will be less in this compound than the other one. Why? Because steric hindrance will be less when the methyl groups are in ortho positions with respect to OH group. Resonating structures. I mean, you want me to draw resonating structures? I will tell you the charges. Drawing and all, it's simple. You can do it. We can deal in terms of directly. We know that ortho and para, they end up having negative charges, right? If you have any electron donating groups like alkyl groups and all, so ortho and para will lead, that's where the charges will develop. Okay. Okay, so coming to this acidic strength, actually nitro group will favor the losing of H plus because it is an electron withdrawing group, and that will decrease electron density on oxygen, and H plus should be lost easily. But this methyl groups present at ortho position with respect to nitro groups will not allow the mesomeric effect of, will not allow, like whatever the electron withdrawing tendency this nitro group have, it won't have that much effect on the ring right now. That's why this will be less acidic than this particular one. You might be having a doubt, why can't the same methyl group inhibit the loss of this H plus? They are electron, yeah, if you observe the size, OH group is smaller in size, right, comparative to NO2. So the steric hindrance will be less, or it will be almost negligible when compared to the previous structure. That's why this will be less acidic than this one, because of the absence of steric hindrance in this second molecule, right? And we will see some more example of this acidic strength with respect to steric hindrance. Next part I will show here. If you observe this particular example, you'll get more clarity. Here also we are talking about the tendency of losing H plus only. The methyl groups, this CN is also electron withdrawing group, right? It should be in favor. Why? Because the acidic strength is directly proportional to minus M or minus I. This minus M groups, CN group, should allow the increase in acidic strength. But these methyl groups present on this ring at ortho position with respect to our electron withdrawing group, that is CN group, the effect of this CN group is negligible on the ring. That's why, that is one thing. CN, no steric inhibition. All right. Acidic character of this is greater than that. Carbon with the negative charge. Okay, electron donating. Yeah, I showed the opposite. That's what I'm thinking. Where did I do wrong? 1 second, ma. Is less acidic due to steric hindrance of resonance. Non-steric hindrance. Okay, it's the same, but what's the difference here? Let me check. The same order only, right? We have the same effect should be there, but the magnitude will be a little bit different. But why did they give the opposite way? Okay. I look further into it. It's not supposed to be this way, because in the previous example you can see, because of the steric hindrance only, the NO2 effect was less here because of the steric hindrance, and the absence of steric hindrance made the loss of H plus easily in the first compound. The above order is correct, but why did they reverse in the second one? Even CN is also electron withdrawing group only. Okay, I'll check more on this. There should be some logic why they drew like this. Okay, let's move on. We should not waste time. I will cross check that and I will explain it tomorrow, ma, again. Why did they did the reverse order for cyanide group? Okay, this part is important. Ortho effect, and this particular exception is only for carboxylic acid, that too aromatic carboxylic acid with substituents at ortho positions or without any substituents at all. So let's see what exactly is this ortho effect. As we all know, whenever we are having any substituent at ortho position, it will be with respect to one other substituent, like if we take the benzoic acid, I think it should be at the bottom. If you take this benzoic acid, carboxylic COOH group will be present as substituent on the benzene ring. Now, to this COOH group, the adjacent position, the adjacent carbon that is in the alpha position, if you have any substituent, it will be treated as ortho position. Now, when there is any bulkier group in the sense it can be alkyl group or nitro group or halogens, something like this, there will be a different approach. And what is that difference means? It will increase the acidic character than the one without any substituent at ortho position. Why? Because the resonance will be stopped because of the bulkier group presence between this carboxylate ion and this benzene ring. If you remember, because of the negative charge on the oxygen, there will be a negative the shifting of lone pair of the oxygen will happen, and the electron density have to be decreased on the oxygen, right? And that will lead to losing of H plus. That's how it should happen. But whenever we have aromatic carboxylic acids, that too with a substituent at ortho position, they will be more acidic than the one without any substituents. Why? Because the steric hindrance between the carboxylate ion and the bulkier group, I mean whatever the substituent at ortho position, will lead to no resonance, will lead to the absence of resonance. If there is no resonance, the compound will be less stable, right? If it is less stable, it will easily lose H plus comparatively. So the interaction, that is the repulsions between the COO minus group and the bulkier group, will lead to increase in reactivity of the molecule. And that is why, because the resonance will not happen, because the OO minus, COO minus, whatever we have, the anionic part, will be experiencing a hindrance to involve in resonance by these bulkier groups. That's why the substituents, especially at ortho positions in benzoic acid, are more acidic than the one without any substituents. I mean normal benzoic acid. And the magnitude of this steric hindrance is directly proportional to the size of the bulkier group substituted at ortho positions. As you can see in the given example, NO2 is bulkier than CH3, right? CH3 carbon is just with three single bonded hydrogens, and that two smaller hydrogens. It's smaller group than nitrogen with bonded to two other oxygen atoms. So the actual size of the bulkier group will also make a note, or affects the order of the acidic strength. So what is the exception that we have seen? The presence of substituent at ortho position only in benzoic acid, only in benzoic acid will increase the acidity. Why? Because the presence of these bulkier groups will lead to no resonance. If there is no resonance, the reactivity will be more. And this reactivity, when it comes to an acid, will be by losing a H plus ion. That's why 3 will be more acidic than 2, and 2 will be more acidic than 1. I mean 3 loses H plus easily than second one, and the second one loses H plus easily than the first one. This is called ortho effect. And mostly they will give you different substituents at ortho positions, and they might ask you to compare the acidic strength. Okay, so this is ortho effect. The presence of bulkier groups at ortho position will lead to or stopping of resonance in the molecule. If there is no resonance, stability will be altered, and that leads to easy removal of H plus. Okay, so this is ortho effect. Based on this ortho effect, we will see some more examples here in this one, I guess. In this benzene ring are substituted aromatic acids. Okay, And one more thing regarding substituents and all, as far as we know, resonance really opposite and meta position. One second, something is happening with the phone. If there is no resonance between benzene and CO minus, then stability of conjugate base is reducing. So acidic character should be less. Here we are not talking about acha. If we can look it in this way also, right? If there is no resonance, the stability will be reduced. The delocalization energy is the one which is giving stability to the molecule, right? If the stability is altered, especially here, it will lead to increase in reactivity. So if we look in that point of view, the H plus will be easily lost comparatively to the one without any substituent. That's why. Okay. All right. So before we see that set of example, one thing we should know. As far as we observe all the type of substituents we have seen, all of them were para substituents only. I mean, even if we go back and check acidic character, most of them we did substituents at para positions. We haven't actually compared what is the toll of these same groups at different positions. Okay, the order will be something like this. The effect of substituent, be it positive or negative, whatever it might be, ortho will be having more effect on the group than meta than para. Why? Because simply charge separation. Charge separation. If the ortho group is active, that it will be the charge separation will be less, right? Less is the charge separation, more is the stability according to the resonance rule. That's why the presence of substituents at ortho, para, and meta have a sequence, and they depend in favor or opposite. Okay, actually, if they are favorable or not favorable depends upon the type of group. But the presence of substituents, the magnitude of them will be ortho greater than meta greater than para. Now let's take a simple example and let's try to analyze. So this is a phenol. Here we are talking about the acidic strength of phenol and we have bromine group. And if you remember, bromine will be more of electron withdrawing group rather than acting as plus M, even if it have the bromine without any bromine substituent, with bromine at ortho, bromine at meta, and bromine at para. You can see group is minus I, which is in our favor. The more the because it will decrease the electron density and it is and the effect of these when it much to the OH group because immediately the charge separation is less after the electrons are withdrawn by bromine. That's why the substituted bromine will lose H plus easily and substituted one. And all these three are more acidic than the standard phenol group. All these are more acidic than the standard phenol group, exception. Is my voice breaking now also? I mean, I think it should be fine actually. Is it still breaking, guys? All right. Okay. So I hope you can hear my voice fine. So whenever we have, excuse me, hello. Okay. So whenever we have an electron withdrawing group, always it will be in favor of increasing the electron density, right? Now, the presence, the position of this electron withdrawing group also have uh, certain influence on like what rate it can lose the H plus. If it is at ortho position, there will be less charge separation. Less is the charge separation, more is the stability of the so formed anion. Because of that, the one substituted at ortho will be having more acidic strength than meta than para, and all of them will have overall greater acidic strength than the normal phenol does. Okay, so this is the actual method or no, actual order for any other type of substituents on the same position, but this will be altered when it comes to carboxylic acid. The same electron withdrawing group, the same minus I group, it should follow the same order, but because of the steric hindrance in these aromatic acids, the ortho group, the ortho substituted one, yeah, same reason, the ortho substituted one, same reason, will be behaving or will be having a greater acidic strength than the rest of them. This is common. So one reason, charge separation, and the another reason to explain a better greater acidic strength of these aromatic carboxylic acid at ortho position will be due to steric hindrance between carboxylate COO minus and this particular bulkier Br minus group. Basicity, we haven't gone there. We will look at it tomorrow. We have, I think I have one more set to discuss. Where did I lost it? Yeah, here. In this first set, we do have at ortho position different types of substituents, I mean different number of substituents. The first one is having two methyl groups, second one is having one methyl group, and the second one is having a tertiary butyl group. As you can see, in the first one there are two bulkier groups. Comparatively, it will be having more steric hindrance. So, in aromatic compounds, you can make a note. The steric hindrance magnitude is directly proportional to the acidic strength. So, here we have greater steric hindrance. That's why H plus will be lost easily. Now, between these two, only one substituent at ortho position. This tertiary butyl group is a bigger one than compared to a normal methyl group, right? The magnitude of steric hindrance is more in the second one. That's why its acidic strength will be greater than the third one. So, what did we observe? The presence of this steric hindrance due to bulkier groups will increase the acidic character of aromatic compounds only, whereas in other cases it will be based on charge separation. We will talk about whether acidic strength is more or acidic strength is less. Okay, so steric hindrance is done. I mean, please go through them again. I think there was a lot of ups and downs in today's class, sorry for that. We have to cover tautomerism. We will do that in the last, that is on Friday. Tomorrow we will discuss about the basic strength, because when we are discussing resonance we only concentrated on acidic strength. We haven't gone through basic strength. So we will see the basic character of phenols and amines, how it will be, and after that we will see tautomerism, and that will do it. I in the Singage book, is tautomerism also coming from the for the exam? Yes, it will be included because we omitted it in organic nomenclature, right? When we are discussing isomerism. So yeah, it will be included. It's simple only because we now have the idea about the conjugation, right? It will be easier only. I'll share this one more. Please go through it. Actually, lot of things are happening. I came to Hyderabad and they allotted me online. I'm staying. Yesterday, I tried in college because I thought college yesterday and day before yesterday. You have seen a lot of issues we had regarding the strength and all. Even in PG also, I'm having the same thing. It seems so. I'll check for alternative and I'll rectify this because once we start the new chapter, if this the same thing continues, it will be a big problem for us. So I'll try to rectify this network issue and all. If I was at home, it would have been fine. But anyway, we have to sort out with our limited resources. All right. Yeah, I'll share this thing. How many are attending offline? As of now, only four in Miyapur. I haven't gone to college today, so I don't know how many new people have turned up today. I'm thinking it's the same. I think Namish, you told Janardhan told that you will go to college today. Did you left? Did you go or not? Total strength overall seven only, I guess. Out of 26, seven students are attending. That's it. You will have online. I know many of the parents are not into sending you guys on offline. You will have online parallelly, so you don't need to worry. Those who are having offline, they have to manage for 1 week. I mean, only these 3 days because a different track is going in offline and another track in online. That's all. Okay, you guys have a break. We will continue this tomorrow. I'll share this PDF. Please solve them. And for tomorrow's also, I'll try to share it in prior because there are a lot of structures. Maybe if you look at them already, you'll have some idea and you'll understand more before I explain it. All right. Is it the face test on Saturday? No. Face test, the next face test will be after we finish hydrocarbons. I mean, alkanes, alkenes, and alkanes. After we finish all three of them only, we'll have face test. This is just weekly test that we are having on Saturday. Okay, chalo. We'll meet again tomorrow, ma. We'll try to do as many as possible, and I'll rectify this network issue also. I'll try to switch to data or something. Reaction mechanisms. Yes, actually, when I was discussing with another faculty, reaction mechanisms and all, they like it's better to discuss them when we are actually discussing about substitution or addition reactions, specific reactions in hydrocarbons. So they will be done wherever required, all the mechanisms together. Not like wherever required, we will go into details at that point. Right now, it will be useless if we discuss the mechanisms beforehand. In alkenes, wherever the type of substitution or addition is happening, at the same point itself, we will talk about reaction mechanisms. Right now, not required, they told. Okay.